So it's not actually always such a simple process of, oh look, slap a sidechain on, that's that bit done, that's perfect now, When you're sidechaining to get the best out of your low end, for me, what I've found is because a constant juggling act right the way from when you start producing the track all the way up until the end when it's finished. I'll be constantly shifting the dynamics of the low end until I get it right. It's really a precise thing, and it's not something you'll ever get right first time. That being said, the main low end battle usually is going to be your sub bass and your kick, essentially, and your mid bass as well and the kick. That's where the real battle happens on getting that balance right. So obviously there's other things in your track you've got to be careful of as well, because if you've got other elements that have got a low end in, you're going to have to account for them. So don't leave those ones out as well. Don't forget them. If you want to be safe, put everything into buses and, do some nice low cuts with an EQ on your buses. But as long as you're being safe and careful with not leaving low end in on other sounds, which lots of people do. So definitely make sure you don't leave any rumble in the low end anywhere, as much as you can. Avoid it. Yeah. But let's say we've really done that, and we're just going to perfect that bass and kick sidechain. Yeah. So as we've already set up on the live stream yesterday, we've already set up a sidechain with an LFO tool, and I'm going to talk about 3 ways of sidechaining that I do. Yeah, and again, like I mentioned, it's the constant juggling of all of these techniques from the moment the track's born until the end. It's the constant juggle. Okay, but here, so we've done our first sidechain, which is just a volume one, quite aggressive to take out the sort of main, sort of first half of the kick, the transient, and then some of the body. So that's the sort of length of gap we're dealing with here. And let's go one step further. So we've got some extra stuff to juggle with. Here we'll do a sidechain to account for the length of the kick, the longer body of it, So we'll make these quite nice and long. And then maybe I'll just change the curve a little bit on these. And then this one we'll do on a much less aggressive amount, So not all the way to 100%. So even just 25%, okay? So now I can juggle between these two. So I've got one for the real, it looks like the gap's this one's slightly bigger. I think that's a bit better, okay? So this one again is the real transient. So let's adjust that again now. Okay, so, I sort of left it where it was, but I thought I moved it. Hang on a minute. Yeah, maybe a little bit less now, and I can go back to this one and juggle this a bit. I'm just trying to unlock that, that magic moment where the low end just becomes even more clean and powerful. And the last thing I can do to add an extra layer of control is a multiband sidechain as well, to do just the low end of the kick. And what I've been doing recently with the Waves F6, and you can do this with Track Spacer, or you can do it with the Fab Filter Pro MB, or any tool which has multi-band sidechaining capabilities is fine. This one's great for me though. I love this one. I'm going to sidechain input from my kick, and I'm going to do a low shelf essentially. So we're going to bring this up. I'm going to just take the range and the threshold down, bring the attack to 0, and just change that to a low shelf like this. Obviously I'm taking up way too much right now, but we'll just set it up. We'll do sort of the main low end chunk of the bass, all the way from 0 up to maybe 400 or something. It sort of gets more subtle as you get up here, which is great. I like that. Anyway, I've got to select the external, so it's actually going to be triggered from the sidechain here. So the kick is actually triggering that properly now. So that's obviously quite extreme again. Now we'll just take the threshold back to make it more of a subtle one. Okay, nice subtle one, like -8. But now I've got 3 different sidechains happening that I can control and play around with, right? An aggressive one for the transient of the kick, a longer one for the body of the kick, all just like the complete volume of the bass still, and then a third one, just the low half of the frequency spectrum, an even more subtle one. So now, yeah, with all of these, I can maybe go back to the first one again. Yeah, I think I like about 90 again there. You know, it's always going to be a bit different. Yeah, that was quite good at 28. I think it was already sort of set up quite nicely, to be honest. Yeah, about there. So now I've got 3 levels of control, which might seem a bit overkill, you know, but they kind of do a different type of job for the sidechaining, each one. And it gives me that extra level of detail and control. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and the most important key takeaway from this mini little tip today that I want to give you guys, is that is a constant shuffling and juggling act from the beginning till the end. So we've got that set up now, and it's great, but the track is still in its birth, it's still in its conception, you know. And we've done a great job on sidechaining it. But what happens when I start to complete the track and add more elements in, you know, add more layers, add more drum shuffles, more stuff going on? Well, obviously the whole mixdown is going to change every time, you know. The whole volume of the whole mix is going to be different. And therefore I'm going to have to balance again my sidechains with the new mixdown, which has new elements and new volume levels, you know. So, but I can just go back to my 3 sidechains here always and just tweak them around a bit as I'm progressing the track. You know, I'll have a little tweak here and there, and then by the time the track's finished, you know, I've really narrowed it down to where is the most precise level for the sidechain. Yeah, so that's how I go about it. It's never a case of get it on there, get it right first time. It's a case of like doing it as I'm going along, producing the track usually, until I find that right sweet spot where I've got the most clean power in the low end. And you can just, you know, if you just solo your drums with your bass or your kick with your bass, and you feel that weight and that power is great. And then if you're adding in all these other elements, and you feel you know, leads and atmospheres and synths and everything, and you feel like suddenly that power's not there anymore, then you know you've got a job to do in your other elements, that they're not, you know, they're not being sidechained properly, or they've got too much low end in. So you know that those are the ones causing the problem, not this structural part of just the kick and the bass. You got that perfect. So I hope that was a helpful little tip for you, my G's. Much love as always, and I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Peace out.